let's turn to Mexico City, Ryan.
Yeah, so last week or the week before, I forget when, time blends together, Sagar and I reported that Donald Trump, when he was persuaded to take on Venezuela, was told that the reason that they were going to do this is because Venezuela was a major source of drug trafficking, particularly fentanyl. So he asked his intelligence community to come back to him with targets. So, okay, you're telling me that there's enormous amounts of drugs coming out of Venezuela. Where? Where are they coming from? Where are they going? How can we kinetically, militarily intervene here? What can I bomb to change this? Problem was that this was mostly a lie. Because Venezuela is not involved in the fentanyl trade and barely involved in even the cocaine trade. There's a little bit of coca area along the Venezuela-Colombia border, but it's kind of like a stateless area. It's barely accurate to say it's even Venezuela. And so the intelligence community came back, and this is the danger of these types of fishing expeditions. They came back with a list of targets in Colombia and Mexico, because those are actually the places where there's drug trafficking going on, which reminded me a lot of right after 9/11, in a meeting, Rumsfeld famously said that they shouldn't go after Afghanistan, but instead they should go after Iraq because Iraq is a target-rich environment, and there's not enough targets in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I mean, like, well, hold on a second. They didn't have anything to do with 9/11. Why are we? You can't just bomb them because they have targets. That's not how it works.
Right.
And Rumsfeld's like, no, actually.
No. He's like, trust me, I know how it works.
That's precisely what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So then that creeps you into a place where now, all of a sudden, you're discussing war with Colombia and Mexico. So Sagar and I reported that a couple weeks ago. Strong confirmation of that emerged from Donald Trump talking about wanting to bomb Mexico because, the things that he gets briefed on, they don't stay secret forever. They vomit out of his mouth when he is surrounded by reporters. So let's roll D1. There's Trump.
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. Whatever we have to do to stop drugs. Mexico is, look, I looked at Mexico City over the weekend. There's some big problems over there. If we had to, would we do there what we've done to the waterways? There's almost no drugs coming in through our waterways anymore. Colombia has cocaine factories where they make cocaine. Would I knock out those factories? I would be proud to do it personally. I didn't say I'm doing it, but I would be proud to do it because we're going to save millions of lives by doing it.
So these Colombian cocaine factories, so that to me reads like a very clear reference to a target list that he was given. You can read our story to get more details about that list. He also, and this is where the creep gets dangerous too, mentioned Mexico City. He said, I saw what happened in Mexico City this weekend. So he goes from drugs, Venezuelan drugs, to Mexican drugs, to I saw what happened in Mexico City over the weekend, to and then would I bomb Colombia? Sure, I'd be happy to. So let's reverse the record and go back to, okay, what happened in Mexico City over the weekend? That's when there was this significant opposition party protest where they tried to ransack their way into the presidential palace.
A little bit of opposition from left and the right, actually, together. Go on.
People are skeptical that there was any non-trivial left involvement here. But we can talk about that in a second. Claudia Sheinbaum, the president, is still at like a 70+ approval rating.
Yeah.
So she responded to Trump's threat to bomb Mexico. Here's Sheinbaum. You want to read
sure, she says,
queen here?
As I said the last time the U.S. intervened in Mexico, they took half our territory. True. I've said it many times. In my phone conversations with President Trump, he has repeatedly suggested or offered a U.S. military intervention in Mexico. I like how she went from suggested to offered. Or whatever we need to combat criminal groups. But I've told them every time that we can collaborate, that they can help us with any information they have, so that's intelligence sharing, but that we operate within our own territory. We will not accept intervention. All right, so that's a very typical line from Sheinbaum and actually like Morena, that they are defending Mexican sovereignty. And don't want any military incursions apart from intelligence sharing, which she just alluded to there, on Mexican soil, which is, getting to be, Trump, the best case scenario here is that Trump is making threats that force other people to clean up their own houses. Whether or not he's in a position to do that is a different question. But when you have these major military buildups, that arguably is the best case scenario, is that it's a kind of peace through strength formula. But right now, he seems pretty eager, Ryan.
Right.
And your reporting suggests that they are putting pieces in place that aren't mere signals of intent, but actually look like intent.
Right, and they certainly are putting the pieces in place, and that's the trouble. That's the fear, because once they get in place, it's very hard to slow them down.
Yes.
And we're seeing that now in the Caribbean. I was on Piers Morgan
I saw you did that.
yesterday or whatever, talking about war with Venezuela, which is, Trump just keeps, or Rubio, I should say, just keeps ratcheting up the pressure, and you move dangerously close to a place where you either have to then completely climb down and capitulate and slink back to the U.S. without getting anything, or you then have to launch an actual war because your bluff has been called. Because Maduro keeps offering basically the entire store to Trump, but Rubio's refusing to take it, and Trump has not intervened yet to say, just take it. Like he's offering you everything, just take it. In Mexico City, to talk about what's going on there, and to back up to the point about pressuring them to clean up, the previous Mexican government, under pressure both domestically and also from the United States, launched a full-on, all-out war on the cartels. And it was a complete and total catastrophe. And it did nothing to reduce drug trafficking, and it only ended up strengthening the cartels in the end. And so when López Obrador came in, he was saying, we're going to try to take a different policy. We're going to try to reduce drug trafficking. We're also going to reduce violence. We're going to make Mexico livable again. Like entire places were just absolute Afghanistan-level war zones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you look at the data around violence in Mexico, it's way, way down. Now, the idea that you're going to eliminate drug trafficking when you have a wealthy, drug-hungry country right next door is a fantasy. Like,
well, and part of
somebody's going to feed our noses.
Well, part of the Mexican economy is built up around trafficking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
And the American economy is built up around consuming the drugs.
Definitely. But there is obviously also that's baked into
Right.
Mexico as well now. There's cartels for years have been built up on this infrastructure related to trafficking. And I remember I asked Yoan Grillo early in the Trump administration. He's a great journalist down in Mexico City and was doing some excellent coverage and getting tear gassed down in Zocalo over the weekend. But he pointed out, if the Trump administration shuts down the mass human trafficking that was going with migrants throughout Mexico, up through Central America. But Mexican cartels, Sinaloa, they were all very heavily involved in that. Where else do they find profit? He was like, what are you talking, like they'll go back to heroin. They'll go back to, they will make up that lost revenue with drugs. Yeah. They've always done it. They're used to doing it.
And so the right wing in Mexico, the kind of upper class in Mexico has always hated López Obrador. They do not like Sheinbaum. They had been agitating against her over the last several weeks and months. And then in early November, Carlos Manzo Rodriguez, which is the mayor of Uruapan in the Michoacan state, which is a cartel-heavy state, was assassinated November 1st at this Day of the Dead event.
And he had been militant. He had been.
He was trying the old Felipe Calderon.
More,
he was trying the old style that he's going to bring the hammer down.
Yeah.
He's going to go to war against the cartels.
He was trying to push Sheinbaum in that direction.
Yeah, and he was assassinated probably by the cartels.
Yeah, Jalisco.
Yeah. And so that generated understandable outrage that looked like you're headed back into this area. Now, the idea that justifies that you should go back to a military war against the cartels is I don't think the country agrees with. But so the protests then started adopting some of the cartel. We need to crack down the cartel rhetoric too, because these are opportunistic protests. They're trying to create scenes in the street that suggest that Mexico is a repressive place and like Sheinbaum's a tyrant, and that the U.S. should then intervene and get rid of her and replace, put the upper classes candidate back in. This was sold as like a Gen Z protest.
Yes, yes.
You can look at the crowd itself. Like, there's very few young people in the crowd. This is as they're trying to enter the palace. And if you look, you can see this guy who's kind of like bossing around these other goons. I interviewed a Mexican reporter yesterday at Drop Site who said that it's well known that there are these elements of organized crime in the city that are for sale for protests. It's like if you need a goon squad to cause trouble at a protest, we will bring them. And he said he could just tell by the way that, and that's one of the videos he took, by the way that they were operating, that they were one of these organized goon squads. Like, he is somebody who's on the left. He knows the black bloc. He knows the anarchists. It's like they were not there. It's like you can tell the anarchists from the organized crime goons.
Right.
And the anarchists were not there.
But I mean, what I saw from a couple of journalists who were there was they were in small numbers. It wasn't
right
like a huge comparison. It wasn't a huge. It wasn't equatable.
Right. You're always going to have a couple for sure, like somebody. But like that violence that you saw was organized crime figures. Yeah. Ironically, saying that we need to crack down on organized crime. We can put up the final element too. This was one of the funniest photos that was circulating.
That's producer Griffin.
It's Griffin. It is Griffin.
It is.
So Griffin was down at the Mexican protest in his one-piece T-shirt. People thought that this was Vicente Fox. He's claiming it's not.
It does look like him.
Whether it is or not, it's just comical. Because the late middle-aged dude with the hat and the glasses, the stash, and a one-piece T-shirt is giving the most hello fellow kids energy that you could ever possibly
Steve Buscemi
imagine.
Skateboard.
Yes, the only thing he's missing is the skateboard.
Yes.
So yes, the Gen Z were out in force. Demanding
regime change.
The reporter, we had this on our Drop Site stream yesterday. The Mexican reporter interviewed a whole bunch of these old people at the rally, and they're just right-wing rich white people who are old, and which is fine. Like those people are entitled to not like Claudia Sheinbaum and be able to protest her, but you can't also call yourself Gen Z. Like, come on.
Gen Z.
Words have meaning. You're not young. Sorry.
I mean, on a serious note, of course, and Juan David Rojas pointed this out in his great piece in Compact, there have been, if violence is going down overall in Mexico, great. There have been a lot of killings of mayors and journalists. The violence in Mexico is still absolutely horrific. So when you see the killing at a Day of the Dead, it was like a candle lighting ceremony, just in front of other people, of a local mayor, horrific, but also part of an ongoing pattern. So still a really, really serious situation for the people of Mexico, of course, but Sheinbaum's approval rating is hovering around like 70%. It's very, very high. And
you can't even imagine that in the United States.
Even on the question of violence, she has a pretty high, of cracking down on cartel violence, she has a pretty high. Juan points out her approval on handling of public security has more than doubled to over 50% since she assumed office. So the question of whether this was some type of referendum on Sheinbaum herself, it obviously wasn't. So that's important to point out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Ryan, let's get to talking about the Democrats.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show, ad-free, and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.